Health is by far, as we are all aware, the most important asset that we can ever have or take with us wherever we go. It is the only house that we actually own. And because of that, no matter what we do, where we go, how we, whatever we involve ourselves in, whether it's relationships, whether it's careers, raising children, doing hobbies, we need this house. Would you agree? We need this house. So I wanted to take the time today to talk about how eating for life to feel better. How can we eat for life to feel better, be stronger, and live longer? Now, because of technology over the years, and the use of it, our attention span has significantly declined. Way back in the 2000s, our attention span was about 12 seconds. And now it has decreased to about 8 seconds. What I have to speak to you guys today is going to be obviously a little bit more than 12 seconds long or 8 seconds. But what I want you to do is I want to give you the key takeaway points right now so that you are able to at least take these points with you if you forget everything else. I also want you to grab a pen and paper because I'm going to be giving you some nuggets here and there, some tools and some little informations that you may be able to take to impact your health right now, to improve your health so that you can be the best version of yourself going forward. So here are the key takeaway points. I have 6 points that we're going to go through today. And the first one is that your thoughts create your reality. Your thoughts create your reality. The second point is that we must sleep 7 to 9 hours daily, nightly. We must do that. The third point is that nutrition, having nutrient-dense foods, whole food diet is a must if we want to have important health. The other thing that we must consider, number 4, is movement. Movement is foundational to our operation. And our hormones, inflammation, they are what creates stress, creates inflammation, and it disrupts our hormones. So having hormonal balance is fundamental to good health. And then the point number 6 is that leisure, relaxation, and rest. It is a must. We must have these 6 pillars of health so that we can live holistically and optimally in our daily lives. So, on a serious note, for the first time in 100 years, since World War I, in the last 3 or so years that we've had since the pandemic, we have been experiencing a decline in the life expectancy due to the obesity crisis, the opioid epidemic, as well as cardiovascular disease, autoimmunity, cancer, and so forth. We have over 300 million Americans, and did you know that 200 million Americans are either obese, diabetic, hypertensive, have autoimmunity, or cancer? That is 2/3 of our nation. That's astounding. With our health in a crisis, it's a pandemic, and this is no pun intended, but it's threatening the very existence of the human race because for the first time in history, this upcoming generation will not outlive their parents. Their life expectancy is shorter than that of their parents, and this is happening not just in America, it is happening around the world. The CDC estimates that every year there are about 250,000 potential preventable deaths in the US. Over 70% of deaths worldwide are not from infectious agents, malaria, TB, viral pandemics, but from mostly diet and preventable chronic diseases. 20 years ago, there wasn't a single state that had an obesity rate over 20%. Now, there isn't a single state that has an obesity rate under 20%. In fact, the rates are now 40% or more as of 2020. Worldwide, obesity has quadrupled over the last 4 decades. Currently, 1 in 3 of American kids are overweight or obese. We are facing an epidemic of childhood obesity. Up until the recent pandemic, the average American ate 4 of the 21 meals a week at home. That was 17 out of 21 meals away from home. Do you see the correlation? Studies have even shown that if you choose to eat at home more, even though we've probably done it a little bit more since the pandemic, when you eat at home, you will more than likely eat healthier because you would choose a vegetable, something else, and you're cooking a home cooked meal, right? So young children, young kids under 10 years old are experiencing pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes. Is this our children's fault? Children are being born into a nutritionally toxic landscape due to the foods that they are consuming. Our food environment, the environment that we create when we eat for ourselves and our children, literally determine their whole life. If you are an obese kid, your life expectancy is 13 years less than if you're not. One soda a day, just one soda a day, it increases a child's risk of being obese by 60%. Prevention is key. We must start with prevention so that we can set up our children to lead optimal, healthy lives as adults. We must also do it for ourselves because our body, our creator, created this amazing body that we have and created a natural, innate ability for it to heal itself once we give it the environment for it to thrive. With stress levels soaring, so much levels of uncertainty with our health, our loved ones, racing thoughts, excessive social media overuse, poor sleeping and dietary habits, awareness around mental health issues. We are at a tipping point of stress and anxiety in our nation today. Wars that are going on, people not having jobs, gas prices going up, fear mongering in our media. It is just raising our stress levels and our anxiety and taking it out the root. Did you know that anxiety has a major effect on your gut health? We know in the holistic community, and you guys should know this too, that 70 to 80% of your health resides in your gut. Your immunity lies in your gut. Don't take it from me. We have about 500 lymphatic nodes in our body. 500. They're in our head, and the lymphatic system is considered like the garbage collecting system in our body. It helps us to collect things and garbage and waste that don't belong so that we can keep this machine of ours running smoothly. Well, out of those 500 lymphatic nodes in our body, 250 of them reside in our gut. If the good Lord didn't know what he was doing when he said to protect the gut, because our gut really houses our immune system, if that doesn't say much, I don't know what else will. Right? So gut health is critically important to improve all health. There is a gut-brain axis. There is a lung-gut axis. There is a heart-gut axis. When our gut is aligned and healthy, the rest of our body is healthy. This is part of my passion and my mission and my life's work. I help my clients who are experiencing anxiety or chronic illness through a very customized 10-week holistic program. And here we unpack the invisible illness. Some of it we will talk about today. So the things that you can do right now to start improving your health at the root. So holistically, you can improve your health, your relationship, increase your life experiences, and transform your illness to wellness. When we heal holistically, that is mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, we optimize health, and then we transform the relationships with ourselves and those in our network. The World Health Organization defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. Holistically, it's the balance of homeostasis, the dance of the body, the heart, the mind, and the soul. It's all connected. I consider it like a highway system. You know, in the conventional approach to medicine, you would go to and don't get me wrong, there are times and places for this, but you go to the heart doctor for your heart ailments, and you go to the endocrine specialist for your hormone issues, and you go to the urologist for your bladder issues, and so forth. And we go and we separate it. But the truth is, the body is one. The mind is connected to the heart, it's connected to our emotions, it's connected to our physical nature, it's connected to our soul. So we need to have a more holistic approach to healing and connect the body, which you are that body, so that you can be the best version of health, right? Now, disease happens when you are not in harmony or in balance. You are not capable of putting the body back in its natural state of health spontaneously. The naturopathic philosophy or nature's law states that the body has an innate ability to heal itself. That's how God designed it. But we must create the environment so that it can heal. We must remove the obstacles. What are some obstacles? Poor diet, sleep, things of that nature. And when we give the body what it needs, nutrition, good sleep, a good microbiome, a nice environment internally and externally, our body will thrive and heal spontaneously. Don't take it from me. Let's go to the scripture. Psalm 139, verse 13 and 14 said, you created my innermost beings. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I'll praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and I know this quite well. Let's dive into these 6 points today that are going to talk about how we can improve our health and well-being holistically. The first point is that our thoughts create our reality. Most of the diseases seen today are actually a result of our environment, internally and externally. Our external reality is also a reflection of our internal reality. More and more, science is confirming scripture, not contradicting it. Our minds are powerful and our thoughts shape who we are and what we will become. There is a connection between our words and our thoughts. Science has proven that you can think yourself to weight loss or gain based on your thoughts. You can heal your body based on your thoughts. But scripture made that connection ancient of years ago. Let's turn to scripture for this. Proverbs 4, verse 20 to 23 says, my child, pay attention to what I say. Listen closely to my words. Don't let them out of your sight. Never stop thinking about them. These words are the secret of life and health to all who discover them. Above all, be careful what you think, because your thoughts control your life. That's scripture. Proverbs 23, verse 7 says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Luke 6:45 says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And I'll tell you something, in traditional Chinese medicine, a part of naturopathic medicine, we do Chinese medicine. And Chinese medicine has different meridians and different organs that are related to different emotions and different parts of the body. So, did you know that out of the mouth, the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks? And in Chinese medicine, the heart opens up to the tongue. So, a good reflection of what's going on in your heart is the way you speak. It's biblical. So now take some inventory. What words come out of your mouth? What are you saying about yourself? What are you saying about your body? What thoughts are you calling? How are you describing your body and your health? Are you describing yourself as ugly and overweight and heavy and upset and not good and all of these negative things? Because these words biblically are affecting and controlling your life. Now, Proverbs 8:21 says, both life and death are in the power of the tongue. What you speak in your life, you are speaking life, health, or death into your life. Romans 12 says, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by the testing you may discern what is the will of your Creator, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, because for everything you do flows from it. And like I said before, in traditional Chinese medicine, the heart opens up to the tongue. So it's all related to our health, okay? Our subconscious mind defines everything about us. We turn on the stress response by thought alone. The mental state is followed by the emotional state, and it's at the root of most chronic illnesses. Now, when you think of our medical system today, over the last 100 years, we have had the most advanced technologies that have come out in our health system. We have had surgeries and the latest drugs and conventional drugs, and we've done all of these things that have been put us at the leading for our medical system and medical approaches to health. Yet still, when we actually do a true inventory of our health, we are the worst in the world when it comes to our health. Our health is at the highest tipping point with all of these aspects of our health coming to bear. No wonder we have a pandemic that has ensued. The pandemic is not really the viruses. Viruses have been around for a while. The pandemic is what we are doing with our health on a daily basis. What are we doing? We are the sickest that we have been. And because of this, because of this, because of this, we have to ask ourselves, what is the conventional approach missing? What is the holistic approach missing? All of these different types of modalities in spirituality, what are we missing in our health that is driving us to be at the worst that we have been? And when I peel back the layers, and most holistic practitioners do, we are ignoring our thoughts and our emotions. That is at the root of our ailments and our chronic ailments. It is important to take note. It is important to take note of the thoughts that are holding you back and to creating ill health in your body, and actively silence the ants. What are the ants? Autonomic negative thoughts that are circulating in your body. The Bible admonishes and admonishes us in Philippians 4, verse 8. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worth of praise, think on these things. In holistic medicine, these are considered high vibrational states that equate to good health. Proverbs 17, verse 22 says, a joyful heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bones. You see, scripture knew this stuff way thousands of years before. And God knew this, and he put it in his word so that we can know and have the tools necessary to heal ourselves. More than any diet, more than any other pillar in our health, the first place to start healing yourself and living an optimal life is with your thoughts, with your emotions. This is what I do. We go deep into the emotions because the body knows how to spontaneously heal. So, point number two, after our thoughts that create our reality, it's the number one and most important thing. Number two is our sleep. Now take notes here. We need 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. There is so much to be said about sleep, about the sleep deprived nation that we are in. I even sometimes struggle with getting a good night's sleep with so much work to do. But you know what? Our bodies and our brain, our nervous system function. However, we really need 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. Due to increased technology, globally, sleep hygiene has declined in our nation. Racing mind, having difficulty falling asleep, difficulty staying asleep. Don't ask me. Look at the amount of drugs, millions and billions of dollars on drugs like Ambien and all of these sleep aids that actually, when you really do the literature and you read the side effects of a lot of them, they're actually making your sleep and your health worse, right? It's worse than sleep. But the body, like a rebooted computer, resets itself at night, which helps maintain good health. The body's anabolic processes, the building and regenerative processes take place while you sleep. Sleep and exercise are literally the only two activities that help us make more growth hormone. Growth hormone are responsible for that youthful, anti-aging skin. When you think of children and their growth and development, that baby in its first year of life sleeps a lot, a lot. They spend the whole time, most of it, sleeping. Why? Because it's the fastest that the baby and the body is developing, going through the majority of its development in that first year. And they sleep a lot. Children need a lot of sleep. They need about 10 to 14 hours of sleep. As you get into teenage years, you need about 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Again, because you've got all of these hormones that are coming out, these hormones that are being developed, and our body needs sleep so that it can produce these hormones in a healthy way so that you can grow up into a strong and healthy adult. And then adults need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Seniors need about 7 or 8 hours of sleep a night. But sleep, more than even nutrition, is going to be fundamental. You can be eating the right diet, having the right foods, all of the other things. But if you are not getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night, you are not going to feel well. Our sleep-wake cycle is regulated by our brain as a part of our circadian or daily rhythm. Our nervous system chemicals such as melatonin and cortisol, they tell our mind and our body when it's time to sleep and awake. It is actually related to light. If you are struggling with sleep of any kind, whether a racing mind, whether you have difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep, one of the first things you have to take a look at is the light that is coming into your brain. Melatonin needs light for upregulation and downregulation. So how does that work? First thing when you wake up in the morning, you want to open up your blinds, look outside, get some direct sunlight into your eyes for a few minutes every day. It's called sunbathing, sun glazing. If you do that, you are training melatonin to come out at the right time. It tells the body that, you know what, I need to be awake right now. I need to reserve my melatonin production for at night. And then at nighttime, we don't need the amount of light because melatonin comes out when it's dark. So when we have darkness, when about 2 hours before bedtime, you start dimming your lights, putting on whether you have blue block sunglasses or other things, turning the devices down, switching your gear, you're helping to train your melatonin production, which is responsible for a quality night's sleep and your mood and everything else the next day. You're telling it that it's ready to come out. It starts its increased production around 8 o'clock at night and it peaks at 10 and it goes all the way till 2. Those of the night, you need to have a pitch black room so that you can have the highest amount of melatonin. You've got to have no technology. Take it off. Put up the EMF. Take the blue light. Sorry, not the blue light. You want to take your airplane mode. Put your phone on airplane mode so that you can actually you want your room to be dark so that you can really help the body promote the amount of melatonin that it needs. So you talk about wanting to get better sleep. An important way to do that is to start in the morning. Start in the morning with the light that comes into your eyes. That will help to reset your circadian rhythm. All right? Some first signs of sleep that actually include irritability, moodiness, disinhibition. It increases without correction to slurred speech, impaired memory, and the inability to be mobile or be able to multitask. Right? A few things to consider for a good night's sleep, like I just mentioned, was keeping regular hours. Create a routine for bed. By 10 o'clock at night, I need to be in bed, which means that few hours, 2 to 3 hours before I go to bed, I need to stop eating. When I eat late at night before I go to bed, and a lot of Americans are eating carbohydrates and higher foods that spike your glucose levels before bed. This is going to disrupt your sleep. Because when you're not able to sleep, your insulin levels go up. These are your hormones. Insulin is a hormone that is a stress hormone. It's part of a stress hormone. Cortisol levels let the body know physiologically that you're under stress. If you're not getting sleep, physiologically, the body feels stressed. And so cortisol levels are going to rise. When you eat a lot of sugary foods or high in carbohydrates, what happens is that insulin levels rise to help to mitigate the amount of glucose in your bloodstream. When insulin level rises, cortisol level rises, and you're not going to be able to sleep. So that's our relation between our health and our gut and our sleep, right? So we want to eat 2 to 3 hours before bedtime so that our body can regulate. And then when you do eat, you want to feast on foods that are higher in protein, which helps to stabilize your blood sugar levels so that they're not spiking and dropping throughout the night, disrupting your sleep. Now, if you have a racing mind, it's important to do a mind dump. through meditation, deep breathing, journaling, listening to calm spiritual music that is uplifting to you. But one of the great ways to do it is to write your thoughts down. Just write them down. Dump your mind so that your mind can be at rest so that you can sleep. Again, sleep in a completely dark room, no lights, no little earplug lights or lights coming in from your phone, blackout curtains, a cooler temperature room, a colder temperature room, not ice cold because you don't want to feel uncomfortable, but a cool temperature room is going to help to promote better sleep. Leave the technology out of the bedroom. And one of the best ways that you can improve sleep at night is to exercise in the day. So when you start thinking about sleep, which is so important, and there's a whole host more that we can go into because we talk about sleep-wake rhythms. If you find yourself waking up at specific times at night, these are meridians that are awake and are related to other emotions and other things. We go through this in depth in my when I do this in depth with my clients, but we really tailor how you can heal your body naturally using food and understanding what's going on in your body with your heart, your emotions, your mind that's disrupting your sleep. But in the meantime, do a brain dump. Number 3, the third point that we're going to discuss a little bit is nutrition. Are you guys enjoying this so far? Is this pretty helpful? Give a wave if it is, or a comment in the chat box if this is helpful for you so far. All right, so nutrition is number 3. An ancient Ayurvedic proverb says, if diet is wrong, medicine is of no use. If diet is correct, medicine is of no need. All right, so this section is really huge. They're all big pillars, but these are some things that you can do to really help your body heal. We know that 11 million people die every year because of diet. 11 million people. Food is more than fuel and energy. It provides incredible information in plant foods that impact our biology and impact our microbiome. There are classes and compounds called phytochemicals that are found in plants and animal foods that really are molecules that help to create our health. You are literally changing your biology with every single bite of food. That's because food really is not just calories, right? It contains really powerful compounds that drive your body's biology and help you stay healthy and prevent and reverse disease. There are 25,000 phytochemicals in plants and animals, and these help to regulate every system in our body. And get this, if you are eating animal products, animals that eat a wide variety of plants will have these compositions in their meat and their milk. So unfortunately, in this country, a lot of the meat and the animals that we consume in our diet, animal products, are fed with drugs, antibiotics, hormones. The other day, or sometimes when we're driving by some of the more rural areas in our community, we pass by and you see these cows and you feel so sad because the cows are sitting in mud. They're sitting in dirt. They're not eating in their natural environment to thrive. And you are what you ate. So if that thing is eating hormones and candy and Skittles and all of the junk foods that they feel to feed the animals, to beef them up, to help them to grow quickly, then that's your diet. But there are animal products, the animals that are eating the right food. They're grazing, they're pasture raised, they're free ranging on their natural habitat, and they're not being pumped with hormones and drugs. These animal products are way better. There are nutrients and things that you can get from these animals that are going to be beneficial for you. But I'll tell you this much. They're so expensive, those kinds of meats that are grass-fed, grass-finished, or pasture-raised, that you really end up limiting the amount that you eat from it because of the cost, right? But we can enjoy a mostly plant-based diet because these are the things in our bodies, the nutrition in our bodies that really help to regulate and to give us the biology that our body needs to transform our health. One of the single biggest things that you can do to affect your system is the foods that you eat. The wrong foods will damage your immune system. You know, we have gut assimilation that happens in our gut, our immune system, we have the energy system, we have the detoxification pathways, we have our lymphatic and circulatory systems, which are transport system. We have our communication system, which is our endocrine system that houses our hormones, neurotransmitters, polypeptides. Then we have our structural system, which is our musculoskeletal system. And the food we eat interacts with all of these systems. You can heal your body with food, or you can harm your body with food. Sugary foods increase insulin production and it stores as a fat. So if you have things like fatty liver, truncal obesity, or anything in the abdomen that's on, all of these things are impacted by the amount of carbohydrates, refined, processed foods that we are consuming in our diet. There is so much that I can talk about with nutrition, but there's so many diets out there, but if we know for a fact that out of all of these diets, there is one thing that every diet needs. And what is that? We need organic veggies. We need fruits. We need legumes. We need whole grains, nuts and seeds and healthy fats. Every diet needs a little bit of these. 5 to 9 servings of veggies daily. And you may say, Dr. Dellia, that seems like a lot. But one serving is half a cup. Half a cup. So it's totally doable. What we should be doing is having veggies with every meal. Whether you're doing green juices in the morning, you can have 3 to 5 servings of your veggies in that one green juice or a green smoothie. But we need to have all the colors of the rainbows, from the phytonutrients to the bioflavonoids to the antioxidants, polyphenols, and vitamins and minerals. There is so much healing and health that comes from the variety of fruits and vegetables that we consume. And this should make up more than half our plates at every meal. Get creative with it. Get creative. With young children, you can start off by really hiding those fruits and vegetables in their pastas and their soups and so forth. Start off there with the young children and you get their taste palates adapted to the foods that their body needs, not the processed foods, right? Not to mention the fiber content necessary for hormone production. So when we have a lot of fruits and vegetables instead of using the juices and we use real food, we're giving our bodies the fiber that it needs. And the fiber is kind of like a broom in the blood vessels. So it helps to sweep the blood vessels of all the waste and things in our digestive tract that we need to aid for optimal GI function. Another long known truth is that when we are focusing on eating whole foods instead of isolating single nutrients and saying, well, I want to take this and that, we're going to get a better, more ability to nourish ourselves. Some foods that you ought to avoid. Now get a pen and write these down, okay? Because these foods, we need to avoid them no matter what. Sugars, processed, artificial sugars. They're called everything with an oath. Glucose, fructose, sucrose, sucralose, all of these artificial sugars and sweeteners, we need to get them out of our diet. Grains, certain types of grains and fast food and processed foods, soy, and these soys are we talk about not the GMO soys. There are a lot of genetically modified versions of these soys. How do you know? When you look at the ingredients on the products, they will say something like something soy isolate. So an isolate form of anything is a genetically modified. What it has done, it's isolated removed the healthy versions of the active product and given you an isolated version of it. And these isolated versions are destroying and damaging our health and anything that's dairy and genetically modified. Doing this will help you avoid the processed and industrial oils like canola, vegetable oil, peanut oil, safflower oil, corn oil, vegetable oil, canola oil. I mean, we're talking about these oils are partially hydrogenated. They're industrial oils and they are destroying your health. Now, I'm telling you, some of you are shaking your head. and saying, oh my goodness, I have got some work to do. But let me tell you, you can help yourself by doing one step at a time. The first thing you want to do is to look at your ingredients. Look at the ingredients. The front of the package is for advertisement. The back of the package is for education. Entertainment in the front, education in the back. We want to look at those ingredients. We want to read those ingredients and make sure that if you're seeing more than 5 or 6 ingredients on the list, then you know what? Maybe you're not supposed to be eating that, because most of what we need to be eating is whole foods. What are the ingredients in an apple? An apple. What are the ingredients in eggs? An egg. What is the ingredients in our greens and in our chard? That's one of my favorites. It's chard. That's it. You don't need a lot of processed foods. You want to get to the point where you are reading the back and educating yourself on what nutrition looks like. So the industrial oils, artificial sweeteners, sugars, grains, fast foods, processed foods, soy, dairy, all of these things are things that you can eliminate from your diet. Why? Because these oils, refined salt, processed sugars, all of these create free radical or toxin buildup in your body. This leads to an activation and overproduction of inflammation. This production of inflammation and other factors like environmental estrogens and or plastics and so forth, it leads to chronic inflammation. And chronic inflammation is at the root cause of most all diseases. So what is the healthiest diet? One, again, that's filled with colorful vegetables and fruits, whole food from the unadulterated fruit from the earth, legumes, satisfying nuts and seeds, healthy nut butters and seeds, chia seeds, good healthy fats. So you say, if I have to take out vegetable oil, canola oil, corn oil, peanut oil, safflower, and sunflower oil, these are the oils that most people consume, then what oil should I use? You have good healthy fats like avocado oil, coconut oil. You have olive oil is also a good oil to have. You want things like ghee, which takes out a lot of the, which is a good process of fats. Grass-fed butters that you can use. Butter, by the way, has a constituent in it called butyric acid. And butyric acid is what the colon needs for colon food. So it's important to get these good fats in. Avocados. These are great sources of good fat that you want to add into your diet that can help instead of the partially hydrogenated oils. All right? So eggs, lean meats, poultry that are grass-fed or pasture-raised. These are important words to use because, again, you are what you eat. All right? Avoid too many refined sugars and excess processed salts and dairy. The number 1 and 2 most allergenic foods in our diet are usually gluten and dairy, wheat products. Those are the ones that are causing a whole host of inflammation in our diet. And how would you know? You feel a lot of mucus coming through the eyes, the nose, the throat. You'll see a lot of mucus and undigested food in your stool, in your bowel movements. These are where you're getting it. So eliminate the conventional dairy from your diet. And then it's the hidden sugars. The hidden sugars are loaded with over 70% of food products have high fructose corn syrup, cane sugar, fructose, dextrose, sucrose, maltodextrin, glucose syrup. And these are just a few names that are being taught for these sugars that are damaging your health. There's a whole lot more, like I said, and I go through these with my clients one-on-one, and we really find a way to fine-tune food so that you can use food as medicine to heal yourself. Now you can enjoy the pleasures of cooking for yourself. Get the whole family involved in the process, from the grocery store to the table. Share meals with your loved ones. Studies show that the more you eat at home, the more than likely the healthier you're going to eat. Then you want to eat until you're satisfied, not stuffed. Take 20 minutes. It actually takes about 20 minutes for the brain to connect with the stomach, to know that it's full. The receptors, the stretch receptors of the stomach will send a message to the brain to say, okay, I'm full. So if you're overeating or you're eating till you're stuffed, by the time the message gets to the brain 20 minutes later, you are beyond stuffed. And it's uncomfortable. And that heavy feeling of overeating in the gut disrupts our immunity and disrupts our health. Now, this approach is not just a fad diet. This is not just, oh, let's just get on this for a period and get off. Because something that you go on and off of is how we actually describe these diets in our world today. This is a healthy diet. This is the way our bodies can thrive. This is why no matter what diets go out there, from keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, no matter what the name of the diet, and I'm not stepping on toes here, I'm just saying it doesn't matter what the diet is, these foundational things are important for every diet. Another thing that you can do with your diet is to make sure that you are eating the foods that are supportive of your health. Some people can eat the right type of dairy, a few amount of people, not the ones that are conventional approaches, and they don't have an issue with that. For me, I know that dairy does not work well for me. Dairy doesn't work well. But eating a diet that is higher in vegetables for me and less grains, and also eating certain products of meat that are grass-fed works better for my diet. So you are going to need to take an inventory in your health and ask yourself, when I eat this food, how am I feeling? Some of the symptoms that you can look out for are things like fatigue, skin rashes, joint pain, headaches, gas, bloating. These are the signs that your body will tell you whether something is agreeing with you or not. So you are going to need to have a diet that's tailor-made for you. And how can you do that? As you're eating food, be mindful. Be mindful of how your body is responding with the types of symptoms that come around. Okay? So now water. Water is important. It makes up 60% of the human adult is water. The brain and the heart are composed of 73% water. The lungs are about 83% water. Even the bones have about 31% of water. It is indeed essential for life on and in above for us to have water on earth and in heaven. It is needed to the brain. It is necessary for the brain to manufacture hormones and neurotransmitters. It acts as a shock absorber for our brain, our spinal cord, and our joints. It regulates our body's temperature through sweating and respiration. It helps deliver oxygen and nutrients to and away from our body's organs. It helps us form saliva, a necessary function for digestion, or enzymes that help to break down food that start from our mouth and end through our digestive tract are necessary. Water needs to happen so that these enzymes can do their job well. It helps with our mucosal membrane to keep it moist. Did you know that for the gut to be intact, it has to have a mucosal membrane that helps to protect big molecules like protein and other foods from leaking from the gut to the bloodstream, which causes a lot of inflammation around us, okay? So it's important. Our gut needs it, our digestive tract needs it, all of our body needs water. When you think about the amount of water that you can be consuming, we're looking at about half your body's weight in ounces of water. When you think about how much water that is, you really hardly have room for other types of drinks and juices and processed drinks and so forth. Water is what our body needs. It flushes our body, it flushes our urinary tract and our digestive tract. As a matter of fact, people who have more fatty tissue have less water than people with less fatty tissue percentage-wise. So, since we know that the majority of our nation is carrying excess weight, we know that we need to increase the amount of water we consume. Number 4 is movement daily. Now, you notice I didn't say exercise, I said movement. We need to give our bodies at least 20 minutes a day to do something that is physically fun for you and get moving. Get outside, park your car a little bit farther so that you can walk to your job. Movement is what's happening internally. The body is never, ever at rest internally. It is constantly moving. The organs and bodily functions are in a constant state of motion, and it needs our movement to help support our lymphatic system. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but the lymphatic system is the garbage collecting system in the body. We've got 2 circulatory systems going on. We've got the lymphatic system and we've got the circulatory system. The circulatory system, which pumps our blood throughout our body, our heart, our blood vessels, they are muscular. And so they have a pumping action of the heart that really keeps it pumping and moving through this highway system of our body, throughout all our organs, back and forth, delivering oxygen and nutrients to the organs and removing waste. Now, that waste that is removed from the organs, when we get the right amount of sleep at night, that's what's happening. It's actually detoxing the body, right? When we get that amount of sleep at night, the lymphatic system now takes all of the garbage from our body and it gets rid of it through our emunctories, like our sweat, our liver, our skin, our bladder, urine, bowel movements. This is called the emunctories in naturopathic medicine. This is how it eliminates it. But the caveat here is that our lymphatic system is not a muscular system. It does not have the ability to pump on its own. How does it get to eliminate those wastes? Through movement. When we move, when we exercise, when we give our bodies activity, that helps to eliminate and release the toxins that are built up in our lymphatic system. It helps us to do that job better. It helps the lymphatic system do its job. Now, if you are not exercising and you're not getting movement, daily movement, at least 20 minutes in your life every single day in your activities, then what happens is that toxins gets back up into the bloodstream because it's not getting eliminated effectively, and it goes back into your body. It creates inflammation and toxins, and this is how our body breaks down health. It breaks down because there's too much toxins that are not being eliminated. So movement is fundamental. We need to move. It's important for us to get 20 minutes, and you don't always have to feel like you need to go to a gym. Go outside, take a walk in nature, put on some of your favorite music, dance, move around, run up and down your steps, whatever you need to do, but get at least 20 minutes a day. That's doable. And find something that's fun. Take your dog for a walk. Just find ways to get movement in. Number 5 is hormones. Your hormones are at the backbone of our inflammation. Stress creates inflammation and it disrupts our hormones. When I mentioned it briefly earlier, we have different types of hormones. We have fat storage hormones and we have fat burning hormones. The thyroid, cortisol, insulin, estrogen, these are our fat storage hormones. And when we actually are in a constant state of stress physiologically tells the body that, you know what, I need to ramp things up. See, way back in our hunter-gatherer days, we had, you had to hunt and gather for food. And when you went to hunt, you had to make sure that saber tiger was not going to get you. And so our hormones, stress hormones, will be delivered through our adrenals and it will pump out there for fight or flight so that you can get food to live. But fast forward life to now, and we are in a constant state of stress, from the media to relationships to our home life to our jobs to you name it. We are constantly in that state, and our adrenals are constantly pumping out our fat storage hormones, which is cortisol, and that's destroying our health. One of the biggest challenges on our hormonal health is insulin. And why? Because we are consuming so much processed foods. Insulin resistance is at the base of our inflammation. It's at the base of the inflammatory processes that are happening in our body. And why? Because cortisol and insulin are like brothers and sisters. They're really close related. They work in tandem together. See, when the body is constantly under stress, it tells the body that, you know what, I am under stress. I need to store fat. I need to store fat. And what is one of our fat storage hormones? Insulin, right? Insulin comes up. So when we're under stress, we want to have enough glucose to the body so that we can actually be able to make it through to the next stressful episode, except that we're living in a microdose environment of stress constantly. So we're constantly pouring cortisol into our bloodstream, and our insulin levels are going up. Well, too much insulin ends up pushing fat into our cells, into our tissues. So insulin levels, based on our cortisol levels, which is stress, gets risen, and it pumps all of the glucose, at least tries to, into the fat cells to store it for another stressful moment. But when we are constantly in a place of stress, we are literally increasing our waistline because stress, too much stress, is disrupting our hormones, right? When we are under a lot of stress, there are processes that slow down, right? So we have when we have, for instance, when your body's under stress, your heart rate increases. It's supposed to, so that if you have to get away from that tiger or that bear or that stressful situation, you can flee. You want enough heart, you want enough blood pumping through those veins to get you to run faster. So your heart rate increases. What else happens? Your eye levels dilate. So your eyes dilate open so you can see the stress in front of you. Your heart rate and your breathing improves. It gets better. It gets wider. It's allowing for more air to go in and out. So you find yourself potentially hyperventilated, or at least being able to breathe more effectively. There are so many metabolic processes that are taking place when we are under stress. Unfortunately, we are constantly under stress, so we have to find a way. And you know what's interesting? The good Lord gave us one day a week so that we can hit the reboot system. It's our Sabbath. He knew what he was doing. If we didn't have a Sabbath, we would run ourselves into the ground. We wouldn't stop. He also gave us a chance to reboot every single night. So we have systems in place that he has put for the body to heal by relaxing on Sabbaths, taking a day off. I know for some of you, whether you're pastors or you're involved in the church, it could be the busiest day. So find ways to really create time set aside to be with yourself and your creator to reduce the levels of stress that come on from these hormones that are constantly being pumped. Things that you can do to balance your hormones are things like eating foods that are low in sugar, eating good fats. We talked about that. Good fats increase testosterone levels, and consuming good fats can help to balance your hormones. A high fiber diet is also excellent for balancing your hormones. If you have things like endometriosis, heavy periods, low libido, difficulty sleeping, bone issues, you go down the list. Having good fiber in your diet will help to balance the hormones. Foods that are high in fiber include things like whole grains, brown, wild rice, forbidden rice, quinoa, oats, buckwheat. These are good whole grains that have good healthy fiber in them. Seeds like chia seeds and flax seeds, pumpkins, sesame seeds, and sunflower seeds. These are great fats in your diet, and seeds are good fat to help balance your hormones out. Nuts like almonds and pecans, walnuts, peanuts, pecans, hazelnuts, cashews, all of these nuts, again, these are great nuts to incorporate in your diet. And you know what? It's interesting. These foods don't just have one function. So they're good at balancing homework. They're good for your brain health. They're good for other aspects of your diet. They're good sources of protein for your muscle. They're great. Then beans like black beans, pinto, garbanzo, kidney beans, all of these beans are good for lentils, legumes. These are really good sources of protein that can help to balance your hormones. Fruits like raspberries, oranges, all the colors of the rainbow, mango, guava, you go down the list. The dark and colorful vegetables like beets and carrots and tart cherry juice, artichokes, these are really excellent for balancing hormones. Include them in your diet. Another thing that you need to do is to poop daily. No one wants to talk about the poop, but I'll tell you much. In naturopathic medicine, poop is important. We talk about the bowel movements. That is a great indicator. There's so much that can be deduced about your health in your bowel movements. You should be at least going at least once a day, at least 1 to 2 times a day. That's important. Constipation is bad for your hormones. It increases estrogen, and it actually causes a whole host of environmental estrogenic issues. And it's not just for females, ladies and gentlemen, it's also for males, because we have these receptor sites that are housing both estrogen and testosterone. We all have them. Males have a higher amount of testosterone, females have a higher amount of estrogen, but they compete for similar sites. So the receptor sites. So if your testosterone levels are low, it means that your estrogen levels are high. And for men, that looks like having man boobs, a little bare belly is what we call it, and having low libido, having bone health, brain fog. So you want to make sure that you are balancing those hormones so that you are not losing your health, your essence as a male or a female. Okay, and that's important. Be making sure that you have a good bowel movements. Good bowel movements. If you need to improve your bowel movements, making sure that you have the right amount of fiber in your diet, water, things like prunes, magnesium, vitamin C, probiotics, good vegetables. All of these things will help to improve bowel function. And as I wind it down here, hopefully you guys have been taking a lot of notes. There's a lot I know I've poured at you, but these are the foundational things for your health. Number 6, I could never not talk about health without talking about leisure, relaxation, and rest. It is a must. It is fundamentally important for us to have relaxation in our lives. What do you do for relaxation? What do you do? Make a mental note, write it down. What are you doing? Mental unrest is due in part to our society that is so busy that we have forgotten to take time to enjoy life, to step back and decide if we need to make changes or to really think about our lives and determine if we are happy or on the right path. When we slow down and take a look at our lives, we realize that the dreams that we may have had are on our back burner. We are measuring happiness by what we achieve and own versus how we feel and what we must do to enjoy life. So the business of life results in an overstimulation of the sympathetic nervous system, and that is our stress system, okay? An overly stimulated mind is not grounded. When you practice and thus it affects your sleep. So if your mind is not grounded because you're not doing the things that you love to do, you're not finding the time to take joy and bring joy into your life, it's causing your mind to be at unrest. And what does that do? It disrupts your sleep. And there goes that whole cycle of rest. So it's important to do a mind dump. Doing things like journaling, writing things down is a great way to ground the mind. Another way what happens when contentment and joy are high, sleep comes easily. When they are not, sleep is difficult. When a person realizes that they are not contented in their life, they're not doing the things that they enjoy, they're not taking time for that, it's a great time to relax, rest, take a moment out, go into solitude, and to make changes. Take the time to go within so that you can make changes. Now, there are two different things like prayer and meditation. Those are two forms that can help you to relax the mind. Prayer is your ability and your conversation to the divine, to God. This is you talking to God. Meditation is opening up your heart for God to talk to you. So taking time in stillness, getting out in nature, going out there and taking time for solitude. Solitude is a way that you will allow your body to calm itself down and to listen to what works well for you. He gave you the barometers in the way your body will feel, right? Now, there are many of you that may be holding on to negative emotions. This is part of the mental unrest. When we have unhealthy emotions, holding on to fear and grief and worry and anger and resentment and hatred and unforgiveness, all of these emotions tend to plug up and block the channels of health in our bodies. And when we hold on to these, our body becomes unrest. It is difficult for us to sleep. So it's important to do an inventory. Do an inventory. What emotions am I holding on to? Did you know that your immune system, when you hold on to things like worry and grief, these emotions are related to meridians, according to Chinese medicine, in our body. So the lung holds grief, sadness, the inability to detach and let go. When we don't let go, we are affecting our lungs. When we hold on to things like worry, constant state of a mind, filling our mind, racing minds, anxious thoughts, constantly in a place of that, we're affecting the colon. These are the two organs that are responsible for our immune system. Our emotions play an important role in our health, and it's important for us to make sure that we are not shutting down our health with toxic emotions. Literally, the liver in Chinese medicine, the emotion attached to that is anger and resentment. Those are the emotions that are affiliated with the liver. Now, if you don't think that's important, the liver in Chinese medicine is responsible for it opens up to the eyes. So if you have blurry eyes, macular degeneration, any eye issues, itchy eyes, scratchy eyes, you name it, it's related to our liver function. And what is the hormone attached? What is the emotion attached to the liver? It's anger, unforgiveness, and resentment. So it's really important if you have someone that you need to forgive, if you have someone that needs to forgive you, you need to find a way to let go of these toxic emotions. Write it down. Write it down on a piece of paper. If you feel anger or resentment towards parents, spouse, children, siblings, coworkers, you name it, write it down and find a way to release these emotions from your existence. These toxic emotions are hurting you. They're not helping you. And when you address them, which is a huge part of the work that I do with my clients, when we address these unhealthy emotions that have been stored in our bodies, then you can find your overall state of healing will improve. You will be able to relax and you'll be able to have mental rest and sleep. Now, other ways that you can have mental rest is practicing gratitude. A grateful heart is good medicine. Read the scriptures, recite affirmations that are going to be speaking words of life into your life. Bring more joy into your life. Dust off an old hobby that you had. Dust it off and go into the attic and create a new hobby. Find something you like. Any of these activities, any form of these activities will promote deep relaxation and will help activate pathways that reduce stress and promote weight loss, lower your anxiety, heal up your gut, help you to sleep better. It's all a matter of dealing with these things. All right, so learning to discharge these things are very, very beneficial. Now, we were given that Sabbath. We need to make sure that we're taking the Sabbath as a day of rest. What did the Bible say? I created Sabbath for man and not man for the Sabbath. We need to take that day and we need to take one day off to recoup and rest because our Creator gave us that to restore our minds and bring us back into harmony with ourselves and our Creator. So, as I close, the question is, what do we need to do to feel better, be stronger, and live longer? The answer is right there. It's simple. Follow nature's laws because our thoughts create our reality. We need to sleep 7 to 9 hours a night. We need proper nutrition, consuming nutrient-dense whole foods. We need daily movement in our lives. We need to make sure we're eating the foods that help to balance our emotions and reduce inflammation. And we need to have rest, relaxation, and leisure. It's a must. You see, Exodus 15, Exodus chapter 15, verse 26 says, if you listen obediently to how the Creator tells you to live in His presence, obeying His commands and keeping His laws, then you won't be struck with diseases. I am God. I am your healer. So today, I know I've given you a lot of information. And you may be feeling a little overwhelmed by some of it because it's a lot, but I will give you a word of encouragement today. It is important. Just try one of these pillars, just one. Maybe tonight, start going to bed a little bit earlier, or dust off your running shoes and go take a walk outside in nature, 20 minutes a day, or try to get a better amount of sleep. Increase your body with 1 or 2 vegetables. Try it. Try it, just one. Because once you start implementing just one of these areas, what happens? You start pedaling yourself into good health. And before you know it, you're going to be riding that bike and you're going to be feeling better and you're walking into optimal health. You can do it. I'm rooting for you. God gave it to us in His word. And hopefully this was a message that helped you today.